Today on Monkey Life, concern grows at the park as the effects of the global pandemic continue to bite, meaning everyone has to muck in and out, as staff are forced to isolate.
There's this overwhelming cloud over me right now. I'm worried that we're going to have to close again.
Vet Dave is called in to examine stump-tailed macaque Sylvie, who's off her food and lost a significant amount of weight.
There's no obvious answers at this stage, so I think the best thing is just to wait for the blood results and then we take it from there.
And the Guenon girls show off their amazing agility. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
You just never know how it's going to work.
The park provides a home for more than 260 primates from 24 different species. The global COVID pandemic has resulted in lockdowns and restrictions affecting all walks of life. But finally, there's light at the end of the tunnel. The park has visitors again, bringing in much-needed revenue after a difficult 18 months. However, despite the restrictions being lifted, Monkey World is still experiencing problems, and Alison is concerned.
I have 18 people off with either actually positive COVID tests or who have been in contact with somebody who's tested positive. So 13 of them are primate care staff, and that's all of our younger staff who aren't fully vaccinated yet. So there's this overwhelming cloud over me right now, and I feel, as you can see, I'm a little bit high-strung. I'm worried that we're going to have to close again.
But, park gates open or shut, the care and welfare of the park's primates can't stop for COVID. Everyone is mucking in to help the rescue centre get through the crisis.
We'll be okay, we'll survive. But it's just really tough because we're trying to strike a balance between our keepers and their health and welfare as essential carers for all of our monkeys and apes. So I'm cleaning out bachelor woolly monkeys.
No one is sure how susceptible non-human primates are to catching COVID. But there have been many confirmed cases in captive apes reported. It means when any of the great apes at the park fall ill, concern is heightened.
Jimmy had a cough, Gypsy had a cough. We did COVID tests on them, flow tests. They were negative, so quite pleased about that. So I've actually been talking to NHS, and if they have any spare vaccines at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what time of day or night, I'll come and get them before anything goes down the drain. I would love to be able to vaccinate our orangutans first, because they suffer from bronchial issues more, and then after that, the chimpanzees.
And there are worries too about the park's sister sanctuary, Dao Tien, in Vietnam. The country has been hit hard by the virus. And worries about the staff there and the primates they care for are giving Alison sleepless nights.
Right now, we're having real problems out in Vietnam as well. So the infection is going crazy there. Very few people are vaccinated, but our team is really good. I suppose my greatest worry for our team in Vietnam is our human staff. They're like family to me. I've known all of them forever. And they are vulnerable. They're out in the middle of nowhere, and no vaccine and no intensive health care where they're based. So that's a pretty serious concern.
It means a lot of the centre's vital work with the gibbons, Duke-Langers and lorises has had to be put on hold.
We'd like to do some more releases in Vietnam, but nothing can happen until the COVID situation settles down, because people just aren't allowed to move. So all animal work, at the moment, we're trying to keep the island, in that sense, it's good as a quarantine. So hopefully the staff and the animals, but our team goes back across to Nam Dao Tien to be with their families every night. So it's possible that they could contract the virus, but the island's sort of a good quarantine center. We just have to try and keep it safe.
At home in Dorset, Alison is thankful for the many donations that have arrived at the park and been such practical help. And she's conscious the welfare of the primates in the team's care is reliant on everyone keeping going.
We're being pushed to the limit right now. But we just have to stay focused and try and stay positive for the animals, really.
One of the most spectacular enclosures at Monkey World is Malagasy, home to the park's 10 lemurs. In normal times, visitors can stroll along the pathways and see them close up. But since the pandemic, it's remained out of bounds to protect the animals. And with less footfall, nature is taking over, bringing additional benefits.
There was already plenty of forage, but with everything now overgrowing so much, the amount of plants that they can forage from, all of the extra scents and smells of all the plants that would normally be trimmed back, it's just made for a really nice wild setting.
And that's not all.
These guys are actually needing less food from us. And it's really great because it's really replicating their natural diet and their natural lifestyle.
This morning, Friedrich is tucking into some prickly brambles. Lemurs are opportunistic feeders. In the wild, their padded hands and feet mean they can even tackle prickly cactus. In Malagasy, juicy blackberries will soon be fruiting to add to their menu.
A lot of the forage stuff is nice and low calorie, and it's much, much healthier for them than some of the other items that we could select for them. So it's basically provided them with a lot more exercise, a lot more foraging material, and a lot more interest.
The lemurs haven't missed visitors.
There's a little bit less to look at with the public being gone. They're much more involved with their own group and their own politics and their own society.
The group's pecking order is changing, with young twins Friedrich and Kurt spending more time with dominant female and group leader Fennel. They're intent on moving up the hierarchy, ousting former lead males Indiana and Sirius. With staff shortages due to the pandemic, the team are working at full stretch to cover the animals' day-to-day needs. It means they haven't been able to push ahead with their staged plan to fully reintroduce Kaya to the group. She was separated while recuperating from surgery after being seriously attacked by a member of her troop.
So we were building up to Kaya and her sort of gang with Kurt and Friedrich, the young twins, going in with Indiana and Sirius, the older twins, because that's sort of the problem, sort of two sides. But unfortunately, pandemic has hit and the intros have been put on hold.
Some of the lemurs are still occasionally separated off, but Kaya is now spending whole days out with the group. It's real progress, but has had some consequences for the care team.
She is our lemur with an ASBO. She's not to be trusted. But coming back up here with no public here, she's really bonded with people that she wasn't so keen on, but also has given her quite an attitude problem with us. She's now the sort of big girl around town because she's out all day with everybody.
But with nature taking over and so much to keep them occupied, even the occasional squabble can't detract from this relaxed period at Malagasy. The team are extremely concerned about the park's youngest stump-tailed macaque, Sylvie, who's been losing weight over the past few months. Macaques are notorious for their love of food, and Sylvie's normally the greediest of the bunch. She's known for storing huge amounts of food in her cheek pouches to eat as and when she wants. Small monkey team member Karen and her colleagues have been trying to tempt her with extra treats.
Just a little bit, like an extra banana a day to start with. And at the next weigh-in, she'd lost a considerable amount again. So we realised there may be a bit of a problem going on. So then we gave her a really high calorie target to try and get some more weight on her.
But the situation has gone from bad to worse.
In the last week or so, she's started to really go off her food, and the really nice tasty things we're giving as extras, she's pouching them, and then if we watch her, she'll actually walk away and take them out of her mouth and then drop them, which is really unusual for Sylvie.
Today, local vet Dave Harding is going to take a look.
And we've just given her a pre-med now, and that's to hopefully just calm her down a little bit, chill her out, make her go a little bit dopey. So then when we want to give her the anaesthetic, she won't remember any of this part of it, and it'll just be nice and relaxing for her.
Once she's down, Sylvie is transported to the park's hospital, where vet Dave is waiting.
I think, we have a weight from 3 years ago, and she was 13 kilograms, and she's now weighing in at 8.7. So there's normally some significant underlying reason for that sort of weight loss. It's just knowing what it is.
Dave gives her a thorough inspection, taking scans, X-rays, and blood samples.
There's no obvious answers at this stage, so I think the best thing is just to wait for the blood results and then we take it from there.
But there is one other thing Dave wants to check.
She's got a few loose teeth, but I'm not convinced that's going to be enough to cause the degree of weight loss that we're seeing.
Dave decides on a full examination of Sylvie's mouth while she's under the anaesthetic, just in case. And there's a surprise.
That's just impacted straw. I thought it was a loose tooth. One of the teeth was coated with that, which I thought was a rotten tooth at the back, but it's just actually a big load of impacted straw. It smells quite bad, but I'm not sure it's significant. What she needs is a floss.
The macaque's weight loss must have some underlying reason.
The blood pointed in a direction, so if there's a liver or a kidney issue or something like that, then there may be more that we want to do to investigate that, but at this stage, I can't say anything more.
Sylvie is brought round and taken back to her bedroom to recover, still slightly groggy from the anaesthetic.
Very relieved that we haven't lost her today. When an animal gets that sick that quickly and you take them to the hospital, there's always the big fear that they're not going to come back out of the hospital again.
But for now, all that remains is to make sure Sylvie's comfortable and keep a close eye on her until she's fully recovered from the effects of the anaesthetic. Earlier in the week, Alison and the team travelled to Wales to pick up 2 patas monkeys and 2 capuchins from Borth Zoo, which has been forced to rehome some of its animals. This morning, Steph and Donna from the primate care team, along with vet nurse Saffron, are checking up on the 2 male capuchins, Matty and Louis.
Louis has a wax worm, so he came over and had a lot of those from me.
It's their first chance to have a really good look at the pair, study their eating habits, and look for any behavioural issues. For vet nurse Saffron, it's an opportunity for a general health check.
Unfortunately with these guys, they have come with a little bit of information, but not too much. So we have got an idea of issues that they might have. So it is very much something that we have to piece together over time, both by looking at them as they're kind of moving around in their enclosures and getting used to them and their behaviours and what's normal, and also kind of looking at, okay, when do we need to intervene? Is there a stage where we need to go, okay, actually someone does look like they might have a little bit of a problem, we need to investigate.
It's important Donna and her team get to know the pair and earn their trust. Once they're settled in and have passed a health inspection, Matty and Louis will join one of the 5 established groups at the park.
I've just bought some really nice goodies for them, just to kind of encourage them over so I can get to know them a little bit. It sounds like Matty is also very dominant over food, so it'd be nice to get a bit of cooperative feeding going so that actually we can have them both together feeding from us over at the same time.
Donna's brought a variety of healthy food to establish what they like best. Both capuchins are skinny, so it's important to get their diet right and help them put on weight.
Let's try the banana first, it's nice and easy.
First on the menu, sliced banana.
Good boy. It's nice, isn't it?
Matty and Louis seem to love it.
I know, it's nice, isn't it? Nice treat. As I understand it, when these guys are at Dorset, fruit wasn't actually part of their diet, so I imagine this is really exciting for them. But it's really nice to see them actually together and being able to feed them. Because Matty's got a history of being very dominant of the food, I really thought he'd just chase Louis off. But it was really nice to see that they can cooperatively feed together. Matty was still dominant, and he was leaning over occasionally when I was feeding Louis, but he also allowed me to feed him, which was really great, and that's something that we can build up over time. That's quite nice, isn't it? Do you want something else? We'll try one more thing. What do you want? Let's try the oat ball. Don't know what you make of this. Does that look yummy? Oh, tasty.
The oat balls are a high-calorie food, which should help them put on weight, and they seem to like them.
They're so excited. I've not actually heard Matty vocalise since he's been here, but he's making lots of happy noises.
Information from their previous home suggests Louis has a history of regurgitating his food. Saffron is concerned the pair may have parasites. Donna is able to get a fresh sample of faeces for Saffron to test.
Maybe that's why he's a bit underweight as well, if he's just not keeping anything down.
Until the pair are given a clean bill of health, they won't be allowed outside or to meet others. But Steph has an idea.
Hi Alison, I'm just checking to see what you feel about giving Louis and Matty just a little bit of tunnel, so just the loop between the two bedrooms for a little bit of fresh air.
Yeah, I'm totally good with that. I'd like to keep them out of the enclosure until we're relatively sure that they're clear of any parasites or anything like that.
With the go-ahead from Alison, Steph opens the outside tunnel system which connects the bedrooms.
Hi there. Hi.
It's an invitation to lots of new noises and smells.
What about you, Louis?
Louis bravely sticks his head out, but that's enough for now. It's Matty who plucks up the courage to test the tunnels.
Oh, brave boy.
He's up, along, down, and back in again.
Hello, good boy. Matty, yeah, he's just sort of checking everything out, having a look at the marmosettes, the people, what's around, and just popping it in and out, which is really nice to see that he's not just coming out and sitting out, but actually he's happy to move around all of the space.
It's been a good first morning as Matty gains confidence and sets off again. Hopefully it won't be too long before the pair can join a capuchin group and enjoy lots of outside space and the chance to make new friends. At the Gwon House, the two patus monkeys who arrived with the Borth capuchins are settling in too, albeit at a slower pace. They're shy and a little nervous and have yet to fully meet their Gwenon neighbours.
We are now starting to bring them a bit closer and do some introductions through the mesh and through some perspex just to make sure it's all safe. We're not quite sure how they feel about it at the moment.
New arrivals, Mr. Patus and his mate Lady Penelope, probably haven't come across Gwenons before. The Gwenon family, however, previously lived with Patus monkey Mitza and elderly Lemur George, who mostly ignored them in favour of each other's company. For the park's Gwenons, Mr. Patus and Lady Penelope are a different proposition altogether.
The Patus monkeys are big monkeys, and these guys are very small. They can be a bit nervous around new animals coming in, and although they've lived with a Patus monkey before, these are very different ballgame. These two have much more sort of activity about them, and they can jump higher and much more agile. And, you know, they're a lot bigger.
Both species can be found in West Africa, but in different habitats.
The Gwenons generally spend a lot of time high up in the branches, up in the trees. And Patus are a very terrestrial primate. They spend a lot of time on the ground. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to share the space and coexist nicely and happily.
But that remains to be seen. Today, the Gwenon family are outside enjoying their large tree-filled enclosure. They're a tight-knit bunch. Mum Nia and Dad Benny were rescued after being stolen from the wild and smuggled via the Lebanon. They were nervous and jumpy when they arrived at the park, But with care and dedication from the team, they settled in and went on to have their daughters Biff, now 2.5, and Nala, now 1. They're thought to be the only red-bellied guenons legally kept in captivity. Today, Nick has prepared them a challenging but tasty snack.
They're pine cones, and they've got some, it's almost like a paste with sort of dried fruits and sort of date paste.
The guenons will need to use their nimble fingers to extract the prize.
Go the guenons!
Biff is quick off the mark and tucks in, followed by Mum and Dad.
They're a proper family group now, and they're really showing real guenon behaviours. Guenon groups are ruled by the ladies, and poor old Benny's got 3 of them to deal with, and they really rule the roost. So the male, you know, plays their role if they need to defend their territory or anything like that. But as so far as family life's concerned, they're very much at the bottom of the pecking order, even though they're the biggest one.
But today, Benny isn't prepared to give in as daughter Biff tries to muscle in on his pine cone. Once they've all had their fill of the cones, little Nala tries foraging and finds a snail. Guenons are opportunistic feeders, and although only a year old, she's already experimenting. Big sis Biff, balancing beautifully on bendy branches, opts for some browse. An after-snack sisterly playtime provides Dad with some well-deserved peace. The sisters burn off their energy, diving from the top of a tree, grabbing branches on the way down, before tearing back up to do it again, honing their skills and coordination and testing their agility. Back on the ground, Biff spots a toad. The sisters are curious but wary. It's a sensible approach. Caution in the wild means survival, and at the park, playing together is much more fun. Next time on Monkey Life. There's a surprise revelation during a health check on a recent arrival.
Is he a boy?
It's a girl.
There's no testis. I think it's a girl.
And is this camera chimp-proof? Let's find out.